We didn't do my intro. I'm very disappointed. My OBS software is doing some crazy stuff, I guess. But hello, everybody. Welcome to Kibi Talks, in which we do not have an intro, supposedly. We usually have the intro screen that, goes on and whatnot. And I actually got my camcorder running. And Kibi Talks, if you don't know, we did this 2 weeks ago, where we talked about various news topics that I just didn't make videos for. And it's an opportunity, because videos usually take me a couple hours each to produce. But instead, I wanted to spend one segment of a couple hours to produce this live stream for you, the Kibi community, and share my thoughts on various things. We got a couple things to talk about today, including a new GTA game is currently, now confirmed to be in development, which we figured, but there is 2 potential big Xbox events happening in the next couple months, and finally, we might have the PlayStation 5's price reveal. So, and some more details on that. So it's going to be 3 interesting topics I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on. And the way this is going to go is that when I get into each topic, I'm going to check my patrons. By the way, if any patrons are watching this, you make the stream possible every freaking day, and I really appreciate you guys. And I'm going to be checking there first, where we have our Discord, where they're going to be dropping some comments I'm going to be hitting first as we go through each topic, rather than at the end like we did last time. So if you're a patron, leave a comment on one of the subjects there, as well as maybe something else that if we have time, we'll hit that towards the end. But really quick, just want to say hello to Month here. Yo, hello. Hannah is here. Hi, Hannah, sister girl. Brady, sup, weeb. Renato is here. What's up, guys? Boo, no intro. I know, I don't know. My OBS just transitioned on its own. It's quite odd. Mercury, hi, I'm late. Wait, no, I'm not late, I'm early, but 4 hours. Jethawk, hello, Jethawk. Brady's Xbox events are gonna be explicit, probably. And number 1, Rockstar. Hey, Keebs, hello, man, I hope you're good. And by the way, so once again, the patrons, you have an opportunity to leave a chat, but I will also be checking the public chat. Now, let me make sure, I'm gonna make sure, actually, that I have this running smoothly. So now we are currently on my face. Good. But we have our first topic that we're going to transition to. And I'd love to see your thoughts as we go in this stream. This is going to be a good replay stream. If you miss this, then I will leave time codes in below that you can skip around. And if you miss it also, I'd love to see your thoughts in the comments as well. As we go, leave your thoughts in the comments if you're watching the replay for this. But without further ado, let's get into the first topic, being apparently there's a new GTA game in the works. And this is a go figure moment, okay? This is a go figure moment that there is another GTA game in the works by Rockstar Games, aka probably the most well-acclaimed studio in terms of open worlds there is out there. But something interesting came from this as well that I wanted to touch upon. But first off, let's hit the report that is what this came to be from. So our first report comes from, this is from Games Radar, but the report actually comes from Kotaku, who found out GTA 6 is reportedly in the early stages of development, and compared to recent entries in the series, it may wind up being more of a live service title like GTA Online. That's really interesting. A new report from Kotaku, which follows up on its investigation into a culture of crunch described by many Rockstar employees, which, if you don't know what that they're talking about, previously GTA was known to, Red Dead Redemption 2 specifically, they had 100-hour crunch weeks, which was crazy. You should never work your employees that freaking hard. But apparently there's, attempts to fix that. It notes that Rockstar management has outlined a plan for the next GTA. It's worth noting that the Kotaku report never refers to it as GTA 6, just as a new entry in the Grand Theft Auto series. For clarity, we'll continue to refer to it as GTA 6. The sequel will reportedly be a moderately sized game at launch and then be expanded through regular updates, which kind of reminds me of GTA 5, to be honest, because that started off as a single player, and then, we got the online later on, and then that just got bigger and bigger. This makes it sound like Rockstar is planning to integrate the structure and rhythm of GTA Online into GTA's next main release. The thinking is that this will lighten the studio's immediate workload and help mitigate the crunch. And this basically goes into more of that from Forbes, but just basically that Rockstar's really looking forward to trying to fix the crunch times that's happening. like a former Rockstar employee says, it does seem like a healthier cultural overall, you know, a developer told Kotaku. We'll see in a year or two if I'm pulling my hair out, but it does seem like we're moving in the right direction for being the company size we are. Well, this is good to hear. The video game news that can be extracted from this developments is about GTA 6 specifically, which looks like Rockstar's next big release. So this is really interesting to me because, you know, we're starting to enter this age, like a game that was near and dear to me being Halo 5. Halo 5 launched in a somewhat fine state, but a lot of Halo fans were a little bit disappointed because, you know, we're missing Forge, we're missing theater mode. There's other matters, but there's another game I'm thinking of too, but it's an interesting conversation that if games, you know, they're launched in a way that's they are continuously expanded upon rather than just the full title at launch. I don't know. Like, I'm really curious to see what your comments are about that because who knows? And GTA 6, I've always thought that this game, whenever it came out, which is funny because part of the subject here is a lot of people were like, man, it's been 7 years since the previous GTA and they're early in development. That's another part of this thing is that they are early in development. Okay, which doesn't surprise me at all. I tweeted about this, which, by the way, follow me on Twitter if you haven't yet. But I tweeted about this, telling people, like, look, they just got done with Red Dead Redemption 2, and that game should not exist. Okay, if you play Red Dead Redemption 2, that game should not exist with how painstakingly detailed that game is. We don't deserve it. Like, it should not exist. It was too advanced for its time. And you know, with that technology and what Rockstar did previously with Grand Theft Auto 5, including its online, this game, like, it could be the craziest shit we've ever seen in our entire life. Like, I'm talking about Half-Life 3 levels of anticipation in terms of what it could be. And this is a neat note too. This will be the first GTA game that is actually developed for a next-gen console. Because if you think about it, GTA 5 was developed for the 360 and PS3, right? So we never got a GTA game that was specifically designed for the 1 and PS4. We got a re-release of GTA 5, and it was definitely, you know, that's the next-gen systems allowed it to have more players and it's online and to expand more things, you know. But we never got a game that was designed for that console except for Red Dead Redemption 2. So thinking that Rockstar's next game is going to be GTA, we don't know if it's GTA 6, it could be GTA World. I honestly expect that. It could be GTA World. Who knows? Because I just don't think after everything, I still play GTA 5's online today. And it's amazing how they keep expanding that thing. And it continuously is growing. And it's a crazy game. And I've always told myself, whatever GTA 6 is going to be, I can't fathom it. I can't fathom how big of a thing that'd be. But I'm happy to hear that Rockstar is treating their employees better. You know, they're trying to make it better. And what's going to be interesting with that if you noted in that article, is that they're saying, you know, the idea that GTA could be a continuously built game. You know, like it'll start off moderately sized at launch, but it gets expanded through regular updates. And, you know, I could have an entire conversation about this as like a separate thing, you know, like how if games should be full at launch or is it okay to like add things to them over time? I don't know, but it's just a curious thing. And with that, I want to read out a comment I actually just got before this stream from one of our lovely patrons, who is Mr. Matt Scarlett. I love you, man. Thank you so much for being a patron. He asked, I'd like to hear some of your thoughts about GTA Online and how it will carry over to GTA 6. So online specifically, that's an interesting note. I'm guessing it'll feature heavily since online has probably been the biggest cash cow in gaming history. Yeah. I mean, GTA, I think it's like the biggest grossing game of all time now or something. Am I wrong about that? Logically, I'd guess they'll launch a whole new version of online. But how do you think players who've invested significant time and money into the current build will react to this? And how do you feel about it personally? Thank you for asking about me personally, Matt Scarlett. So thank you, Matt Scarlett, for being a lovely patron. If you'd like to join our Discord and podcast, please consider doing that. But yeah, in terms of GTA's online going to GTA 6, it's a really interesting debacle because I don't know, like, because I've worked hard. I've worked really hard in GTA Online. That is the most I have ever grinded in a game in my entire life. And there's a lot of things that we potentially will lose going. It's like, I've always wondered, what's the change going from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2? Do you carry over all that progress you made in Destiny 1 or not? So I personally would be fine with the reset, as long as the game is insanely innovative and it is something new, which I believe Rockstar will do instead of just giving like GTA Online 2, you know. GTA 6 has the potential to be something great. And I'm really happy that Scarlett asked about the online specifically, because that is a huge battlefront that has continuously expanded. And it sounds like that's how GTA 6 might be developed. You know, I don't know if that'll apply to even the story mode. That'll be very interesting if it does. But I'm fine personally starting over. What I think they should do, however, is for everybody that spent as much time as they did on the online as I did, give them something. Just give them some kind of, like, maybe not a head start or advantage over players, but just something, you know, like there's a reward. It's a dumb award, but like there's supposed to be something exclusive for Halo Infinite if you get to the max rank in Halo 5, which requires a shit ton of grinding, and it's not going to be worth it. But, you know, just something, just like, even if it's like an outfit or a car or an exclusive apartment, you know, nothing that will give them a head start over players, but give them, you know, some miscellaneous goods or something like that. I think that personally would be a good idea, but let's see what you, the chat, have to say. Is this a new camera? Yes, it is, Rox. Well, this is my usual camera I use for my videos, but I have it connected in a way that I can actually do live streams with it, so that's really neat. As Roxanne, thank God, I am so ready for GTA 6. Yeah, man. But I think, actually, I didn't add this, but GTA 6, I personally believe that GTA 6 will be released in 2023. I think it'll be released in 2023, which will be hilarious because that will be the 10-year anniversary of Grand Theft Auto 5. And it will be 5 years after Red Dead Redemption 2. So, and that's going to tick people off, but you know what? GTA 6 will probably be something beyond our comprehension, to be honest. And again, like Red Dead Redemption 2, it's going to be too advanced for our time. But yeah, so I think 2023, personally, especially if they're in early development, like 2023 at the minimum. Like it'll be the middle of this next generation. But anyways, okay. And Brady says, I didn't even play GTA 5. Okay, so no more comments there. So, what is our next topic today? Our next topic today would be, let me pull it up here. This one I'm looking forward to. Okay. So there is some rumors going around, and I don't usually like to dabble into rumors and speculation. Well, I like to speculate. I think that's fun. But I don't like to dabble into leaks and rumors and stuff because, you know, like, I don't take it with a grain of salt. I'm like, but sometimes they're just so juicy that I'm like, I think it's fun to talk about it, you know, not to buy it, but to talk about it and its potential if it was true. And the current rumor going around is that Xbox is going to have not one, but two great digital events coming up in the next couple months. Not one, but two. And it's kind of bonkers to think about, but let's see the actual report. So the actual report comes, this is a website from WCC FTech, but it's actually from like a basically credible source that people are kind of relying on, so much so that it's very widespread rumor right now. But here's what the report says. With the COVID-19 pandemic wreaking havoc on the usual lineup of gaming events, one can't help but wonder when we're going to hear more from Microsoft and Sony about their next generation consoles and games. Microsoft has generally been a lot more forthcoming than Sony, super true, revealing plenty of details about the Xbox Series X specs, but they still haven't said, much about their upcoming software plans. Well, that may change over the next couple months. According to a new rumor posted by 4chan, Microsoft is planning 2 digital events, one for May and one for June, which, by the way, an update to this is that apparently there's a rumor that the June part will actually become July. But for now, let's just say May and June. The one in May will focus on hardware, serving as a proper console reveal event, but will also include some game announcements. And the June event will essentially replace Microsoft's planned E3 presentation and include a lot of major game announcements. And I could go on just basically about like the credibility and whatnot. Actually, this is actually we need to talk about this shit. But actually, first off, let me just say, I just want to comment off that first, because there's a lot to unpack in this one coming up here. But I think I buy this. I do. I've been listening to a lot of people talk about this, and I personally really buy it strongly. And patrons, we don't have any comment about this yet so far in our Discord. So if you have a comment you want me to highlight like Matt's, drop it in our Discord if you're watching this. But I buy this because Xbox has been, first off, they've already talked about it. Phil has already said we have a digital event planned to replace our, what we're going to do at E3. So that was already confirmed. The June one's confirmed. But hearing that there's a second one in May as the proper Series X reveal, they don't want to focus on the games. It's probably going to focus on the Series X. That's why they're saying this is going to be a hardware reveal event in May, which makes sense because literally every month Microsoft is doing something to be like, hey, how's it going? And this is the turn, because recently, in the last time we did one of these Kibi Talks, Phil Spencer said that from this point forward, we kind of want to focus, we want to kind of wrap up on the Series X hardware and start talking about the games a lot. And this would line up with that, because they're saying this May event not only might show some hardware, but it will also showcase that hardware with a couple of game demonstrations. And again, it's important to, instead of just tell us, show us. And that's something that Microsoft has been killing it lately. But more on this. Our leaker goes on to say that the much rumored Fable revival, which is the worst kept secret ever, will be one of the games revealed. Apparently the game will be beautiful, with a world that's partially handcrafted using a photogrammetry and partly procedural generated. I don't know if I said those words right at all. Other games we'll supposedly be seeing over the next couple of months include Halo Infinite, of course, something new from Obsidian, a Forza Motorsport reboot, interesting reboot, and a big exclusive IP from a Japanese studio. I know I got a lot of weebs here. I know I got a lot of JRPG fans here, and I buy this 100%, but we'll get into that in a moment. What a great way to close out the show, but we'll talk about that. Now, I know what you're likely thinking. Should we really be trusting rumors from 4chan? Normally, this rumor wouldn't pass the sniff test, but insider Tim Dog, who previously leaked accurate information about the Series X, tweeted the 4chan rumors saying he's heard something similar. Hate to see it, but 4chan post kind of lines up some of the stuff I'm hearing. With that being said, probably more confirmation it's not real, but I'd put out there to see what you think. Next 2-3 months, Inside Xbox Direct for June, something in May. Lots rumored, though. Xbox has a ton of stuff to talk about, including Lockhart, which that is another thing that people have been speculating, saying that the Lockhart, which is a smaller, cheaper version of the Series X, will also be revealed at the May hardware event. So that's a lot to unpack, but the thoughts that I got is, I've already explained, I buy this. I very much buy this rumor. I would believe that, because Xbox has been doing a great job this year of just constantly being around. And if they're not going to be around, they get the president of the division to talk to IGN over some podcasts. But I think this lines up, because the summertime is that time that, you got stuff to promote. And you only got so much time before the console launches too. And I don't think Xbox is going to be playing the same game as Sony, where they just don't want to say anything. They're doing the exact opposite strategy by saying everything. And so this hardware event in May will most likely be where, maybe the pricing details on the Series X, maybe, but it might be too soon for that. And we'll actually get details on this Xbox Lockhart, which is like a smaller version of the Series X. And yeah, specifically though, what I am definitely looking forward to is the games. We are to the point that the games is like the biggie, the big deal. And there's a lot that could potentially be from these games. Something that they mentioned was Fable. Fable is a franchise that has not been around in a long time and is exciting to think of, it could be brought back and being on like the current gen systems too, with all the ray shading and frame rate and blah, blah, blah. That's a very big potential idea of a franchise to bring back. And also whatever the heck Obsidian Entertainment is up to, which they just knocked it out of the park. They got nominated for Game of the Year, with Outer Worlds. And now they are actually a Xbox-owned studio that people are talking about. Their next game is going to get showcased here potentially. Probably at the June event more so than the hardware event in May. But who knows what they could be up to. Another studio we'll be seeing something from is you PlayStation folks. A lot of the PlayStation key developers went over to this thing called the Initiative that is now an Xbox Game Studios thing that they are giving their help. Some people that have worked on God of War and other things are helping out. And I truly believe that this is the studio to keep an eye on in terms of getting that big M-rated single player game that, Xbox doesn't typically have. They have some, people just aren't aware of them, but that big mainstream release like a Last of Us or a God of War or a Spider-Man, I think the Initiative is going to be that studio to provide that. And a lot of rumors are saying that the Initiative is working on a reboot of Perfect Dark, which we haven't seen a great Perfect Dark game or Perfect Dark game period since the 360. And that is a great franchise that could potentially be brought back and maybe collab it with Rare, because Rare worked with the Perfect Dark franchise as well, and Rare is a Microsoft studio. And of course, the big daddy being Halo Infinite, finally getting some details on that, finally, because there's literally just little to nothing, no details on it. There is something I didn't pull up on this that deserves an entire own video in itself that I might do. But there is reports saying that Halo Infinite, part of this rumor, part of the speculation that I don't have pulled up here, is that in this May or June presentation, probably the May presentation, we'll see. No, actually it makes sense for it to be the June one. Halo is going to show a lot. And they are also going to reveal something very big and very bold. And a lot of people have been speculating that the single player, which apparently now is rumored, it is going to be an open world, which is fucking insane. Sorry. Potentially Halo Infinite's going to be an open world, but you could still play the missions as like the traditional Halo games, where it is like a campaign that is the biggest Halo campaign you've ever played. But there's potential opportunities to explore like an open world like Halo. So what some have been theorizing is that perhaps Halo Infinite is going to launch with a $60 campaign. That is the biggest campaign in Halo history. And then also the big, bold move that Halo Infinite's going to do that is part of this rumor speculation is that Halo Infinite, the multiplayer, is going to be free to play for everybody. Which is funny because if you own Game Pass, then you have the game for free anyway. But the big bold move that everybody's talking about right now is that Halo Infinite's going to be a free-to-play multiplayer. And that would be bonkers because it's going to be available. But it's funny because if anybody is on the Xbox platform, whether it's on PC or Xbox, you might as well just... You already have the game. So it's just a funny idea that everybody's talking about that. But I would believe it. I'd find it hard to believe, but at the same time, I would believe it. But let me know what your thoughts are on that, as well as the entire Xbox situation as a whole. I think I totally buy that there's going to be two events. And I really think specifically the June event is going to knock people's socks off, because we found out 2 years ago about all the studios that Xbox Game Studios acquired to fix their big problem that their competitor clearly had them beat on, being exclusive games, big titles and stuff. And this June event specifically is going to be the one to really be like, look, we announced all that stuff 2 years ago. Here's what's coming. Not at launch, but here's what's coming over the next year or two. It's going to be great. But let's see what you guys think about this. So, I'm going to take a moment to look at the chat, as well as actually, first off, is there a new Discord comment? There is not. Okay. So, let's see. Renato. I mean, that would be good, since I'm sure people want to know more about the games that they'll get to play from the new studios. Absolutely. I didn't talk about this. Hopefully, the Japanese studio is creating a JRPG. It would bring diversity to their lineup. I didn't talk about this shit. So, the JRPG thing. Phil has acknowledged so many times on the record that the biggest thing that Xbox is lacking is, by the way, Nato, thank you very much for those comments, man. I appreciate that. Anybody put in their comments, I really appreciate it. Hi, Dotpot, I just saw you came in, and you just missed our topic about Xbox, so I hope you can watch the replay. But Nato brings up an interesting thing here, being the Japanese studio part of this rumor. Part of this rumor is saying that Xbox is going to bring in a Japanese studio or acquire like a Japanese property. And a big one that I don't buy. I personally am just like, dude, if Microsoft did this, there's no way. But a biggie that people are talking about right now is IP software. And I'm like, no way. That is Bandai. No, they can't. No. But there is some things that Sekiro got heavily featured at Microsoft's, like at Xbox's E3 at 2018. Sekiro got heavily featured there. And then Elden Ring last year, was that last year? Elden Ring got showcased once again at the Xbox E3 show. And some people are thinking maybe they don't acquire IP software. And if you don't know who IP software is, it's the people that made Dark Souls, Bloodborne, etc. But maybe they at least acquired exclusivity to Elden Ring. Kind of like how Bloodborne got exclusivity on the PS4. And I'm like, hey, that'd be cool. There you go. But I also think that Phil Spencer and everybody at Xbox knows that they need a bit more, apologies for sounding offensive here, but they need a bit more weeb of a property to really, attract you Squeenix folks kind of a thing. Even though Square Enix games come to their console, but just sometimes late, like Final Fantasy VII, for instance. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing that, they're going to have, not confirmed, this isn't confirmed, but just to me, that'd be a great way. They're definitely going to close out with Infinite. 100%. They have to close out with Infinite. But I definitely think the second to last announcement being some kind of Japanese thing. Who knows? Maybe they made up with Platinum and they're like, guess what? Scalebound is coming back. I don't know. But that very much excites me. And now, I see a comment here from Peter Clark. So I might hit that comment in a moment, Peter Clark, because I think he is going into what our next topic is going to be. Which our next topic is the final one. The PlayStation 5's price might have just been revealed. And that is interesting. But, and this is more so not necessarily a rumor. There's actually a lot of credible reports that kind of go with this one. And let's just go over it. So, which the funny part about this is that people might think that COVID is responsible for some things, but it turns out that is actually not entirely the case. So, this comes from Bloomberg, to which Bloomberg has been doing a lot of great reports lately. Sony Corp plans to produce far fewer units of its upcoming PlayStation 5 in its first year than it had for the previous generation's console launch, being the PS4, according to people familiar with the matter. So, less consoles produced for the PS5 than the PS4 in its first year, which is going to be interesting for reasons let's get into. The Tokyo-based tech giant is limiting its initial production run in part because it expects the PS5's ambitious specs to weigh on demand by leading to a high price at launch. The people said, asking not to be identified because the subject is private. The global COVID-19 pandemic has affected Sony's promotional plans for the new device, which totally makes sense, but not its production capacity, they added. So COVID affected the promotions of the PS5, but it did not affect the actual hardware. Sure, maybe in some ways, but I think like Phil talked about this recently too for the Series X, where the hardware was ready to go. You know, Chinese factories are starting to come back, and, you know, things, they still had 2 months to plan, you know, before they actually started manufacturing these things. It's mostly just the promotion of it and having events with lots of people there. That's been the issue. So like Phil talked about that previously when he was talking about the Series X, which is why I was saying like that podcast that Phil Spencer on IGN a couple weeks ago is a great podcast, whether you're Xbox or PlayStation. But yeah, it's just interesting to see. You know, it didn't affect COVID didn't affect the production. It affected the promotion. But the company has told assembly partners it would make 5 to 6 million units of the PS5 in the fiscal year ending in March 2021, according to other people involved in the machine supply chain. When Sony released the PlayStation 4 in November 2013, it sold 7.5 million units in its first 2 quarters. And that's a biggie because like in just the first 2 quarters, being like, you know, just up to June, the first half of the year that the PlayStation 4 was released, they sold 7.5 million units. And in the entire year of 2021, there will be less units manufactured than the PS4 sold in just the first half of its first year. So that's really interesting to see. However, this article kind of goes into more details of how that might work out potentially and why it justifies this price. The PS5's loftier price tag may also deter initial take-up. Game developers who have been crafting titles for the next PlayStation anticipate its price to be in the region of $499 to $549. And Bloomberg Intelligence, Matthew Canterman, points to increased components costs pushing up the price required for Sony to break even. Sony has struggled with its price setting decision for the PS5 because of its scarce components, Bloomberg News reported. A Sony spokesman declined to comment. Its shares were largely unchanged in afternoon trade. And this is another article talking about how Sony is struggling with the PS5 price due to costly parts. I don't believe I did a video about that, but I did do like a Patreon podcast about that. And basically a while ago, it was not confirmed, but, you know, there's a lot of talk that Sony was struggling really hard to keep the price of their next console manufactured under $450. And now there's this article saying, you know, that, you know, it's very likely true, and that's why this price range of $499 to $549 is going to happen. So it's just a really interesting circumstance, though, because, and this is what I really want to get your thoughts on. First off, answer me this question that I'm sure, like, I know the answer to. You're going to still get the PS5, right? Even if this thing is like $10,000, I feel like just anybody that's anybody, you know, even though the Xbox is potentially going to have more studios and a better gaming deal and the better hardware and stuff, it's just going to be, no, if the PS5 is $10,000, I'm going to get the PS5. That's just what's going to happen. So I don't think this price is going to affect the hardcore PlayStation fan base. What I think it could affect is the competition in all this. I know there's a lot of people that says, like, I don't like console wars, man. Console wars are dumb and I just like it's stupid or whatever. Console wars is beneficial to the consumers. And plus, I think it's a fun topic. But competition provides for us. Okay, it sounds selfish, but that's true. And another part of this whole report, that just like the JRPG thing that I didn't pull up or Halo's news, another part of this report is talking about how Sony is more so looking to focus instead of, you know, I don't think they'll go with $549. I really don't think the PS5 will be priced anything more than $500. I find that so hard to believe. I hear the cooling system is the big reason why the console is so expensive to manufacture right now. There was talk about the RAM, but recent talk is talking about the cooling thing being the reason why. And like potential reports of it overheating, but that's not confirmed. But I just don't think Sony is going to sell its console for more than $499. But it's just interesting to know that at this point, I think it's safe to say, we don't know this. I understand we don't know this. But I think it's safe to say that we are not going to see another situation of like a $3.99 launch. At this point, I feel like that's basically confirmed. With all the stuff we've been talking about with the PlayStation the past few times, and them not speaking as well, them not speaking also kind of, it doesn't show us confidence in, you know, what their design is and how it's going and stuff, and not showing the console and everything, probably because they're still maybe working on the overheating. Again, I could be wrong, but it also doesn't, you know, quench that worry that a lot of people might be having. So to condense this, I really think the PS5 is going to be priced at $499. I don't see them doing a $549 because another part of this that I'm trying to get up to is that they are learning from what Xbox is doing. Xbox learned from Sony back in 2018, and that's why they acquired all those studios. So Xbox was like, thank you, Sony, for teaching us that we need to have more exclusives. And now the direction started to change the past few months from various reports and stuff. Like, but I'm not talking about the hardware. I'm talking about like other things behind the scenes. That Sony is learning from Microsoft about their subscriptions, their services, their deals that they provide. So I think, and there's another part of this report is saying that they want to focus more so on their subscriptions. They want to focus more so on people getting PlayStation Plus, on getting PlayStation Now. And as long as we get people to get the console, then we're good. And we're just in a different day and age where that's exactly what Xbox is trying to do. They're just trying to get people to get their services, not their hardware. Both sides now. So that's the thing. Xbox learned from Sony about exclusives, and now Sony is learning from Xbox about services. So, and that's why I'm saying it's working out great for the consumers because they're both becoming better because of each other. And yeah, so I really believe that Sony is going to take a loss on this console and not let it exceed $500, but I think it's also going to be $500 because of everything else going on. And I won't talk too much about what I think the Xbox will be, but there's other things that Phil from that IGN podcast that I keep referring to, but he's making it sound like they are actually going to sell the thing for $500. And that's going to be a loss, but Microsoft can take a loss. Sony, they can, but just not as easily as Microsoft because they're a bigger company. But they'll both take a loss on the hardware, but make it up for the subscriptions and games bought and all that stuff, the software. And that's why Phil talked about that in that podcast, is that software these days is really important. The hardware is important to run the software, but the software as a business is what's going to make us money. So PS5 being $500 to $550. Let me know your thoughts on that. And I actually have a first comment here from somebody that's been in the stream, Mr. Nato, proud PlayStation boy. He says, thank you very much for being a patron, by the way, Nato. In regards to the PS5 price, I mean, it being higher than PS4 doesn't really bother me too much because of all the custom tech going in on it, and the part scarcity is due to the coronavirus pandemic is out of their control. The lower supplied aspect is unfortunate, really, but seeing as consoles generally don't have their own exclusive library at launch, I can see it not being too much of an issue. The only thing I don't look forward to is people price gouging because of the limited supply. Price gouging, does that mean like the whole, like you buy a console just so you can sell it on eBay? Because yeah, that could be a potential thing. And you know, it's nice to hear that COVID didn't necessarily affect too much on, I mean, I'm sure COVID definitely affects, like, you know, how easy it is to get parts and stuff, but but there was talk about this a bit before COVID, you know, before COVID got a little bit out of hand. And the low supply is going to be a very not looking forward to thing because, yeah, you're right. People might be buying the consoles to take it away from people, and these are going to be very scarce. Remember how scarce the Nintendo Switch was in its first year? It's going to be the same exact thing for PlayStation 5. Probably Series X too, but we'll see. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to that price gouging either, but I'm glad to hear as a PlayStation 4 fan and, you know, PlayStation fan in general, it's not really bothering you. And it's going to be a great console. It's going to be a great freaking console. But now let's look at the live chat. So let's see. I see Peter Clark $300 is a lot for me already, but half a grand. No, thank you. I will wait for a sale. Honestly, I may just only use PS4 for Ghost of Tsushima. Fair enough, yeah. And that's good. That's the fun thing is that for PS5 specifically, its backwards compatibility library, at least they're saying you should be able to play most of the big games at launch. But what's really interesting right now is that, I think the PS4 Pro, correct me if I'm wrong, does it still go for $400? I don't think that's true. I think it goes for $300. I hope so, at least. Because recently the Xbox One X got marked down, and now it's up to $300. So at this point, Xbox, again, this is what I'm saying. They're just just be on our platform, and we'll make our money through you being on our services. And that's why, these first year or two, they're not going to have any exclusive tied to the Series X. And so for folks like you, $300, you can get the PS4 Pro, you can get the Xbox One X if you want. The PS4 Pro will be a little bit different because you won't be able to play whatever comes with the PS5, but yeah. Peter Clark, thankfully, I'm an Xbox guy, so this really won't affect me, but if Xbox does this, oof. I severely, Peter Clark, glad to see another Xbox person. I only root for Xbox just because they are the underdog in this. I 100%, PS4s are going to sell more than Series X. I'm willing to admit that. They're going to have more users in the Xbox. But, well, actually, I don't know. Between all the different platforms, I don't know. But the reason I root for them is just because I want to see them even again, I like that when they're even. I don't like it when one is bigger than the other. But this does somewhat affect us at us Xbox peeps, Peter, because if the PS5 goes for $550 and the Series X goes for $500, we get a score. But we'll see. Not for me personally. Yep, still gonna get it. Exactly. Seeing as the most price conscious consumer is gonna be the casual gamer, I'd say they would be the ones who would be on the fence about buying one. Yeah. That's why they really want, and that's the reason why price is such a crucial factor, because especially releasing in the holiday season, if they both still intend to release in the holiday season, that's because that's when people buy gifts. That's when Black Friday happens. And that's when consoles get bought. And they'll have a certain amount for the holiday season, but it's going to be a commodity maybe. And yeah, they, we'll see. But I'm just saying, for parents buying their kid their next console, their next game console, and they say they want a PS5 or Series X, the parents are going to buy whichever's cheapest. So, but this gives me all the more hope to see both of them at $499. This gives me all the more hope to see them both at the same price, and that will excite me so much. But then there's the hardware thing that we talked about previously with Xbox, where they might release the Lockhart, which will maybe be like a $300 version of the next gen console. So we'll see about that. Renato, let's not forget Sony still has a stock of PS4 to sell, and they'd still be making money. This is true. This is very true. PS4 Pro is $299. Wow. Okay. See, I was seeing a video that somebody was saying it's still $350 or $400 or something. I'm like, that's not true. It can't be. Jethawk, I really feel that Xbox might win around this time. With Sony announcing limited supply in the first year and Xbox putting it all out, it's crazy. I feel Xbox will be $450 to $500 for sure. Imagine having a console more powerful and cheaper. That's nuts, man. I'm a Sony boy for life, but I mean, come on now, dude. That's what I'm saying. If that is true, if the PS5, it could go to $550. But I really don't think so. I think the PS5 will be $500. But if, these reports are correct and everything, and Phil said in that IGN podcast, he didn't confirm the price, he didn't say anything about it. But what he did say is that higher ups at Microsoft that he has to, break his back for, he feels very happy with what they're allowing him to do. And if anybody can afford a loss on the hardware, it's Microsoft for their budget. And they will make it back from everybody getting Game Pass as the greatest subscription service there is in gaming. And even if it's at the same price, that'll be interesting, dude. If they go cheaper, dude, that will be insane. But I see Renato. But remember, the generation is always a long one and can always change. But whatever happens this generation will be an exciting one. Oh, yeah. I personally, I just like to focus on the here and now, though, because, I agree with Nato there, but I love the build up to things. I love the build up to Kingdom Hearts. I love this mystery that I'm experiencing for Halo Infinite. I love the hype train going up to Endgame. And I am very excited for the console war year. And not because I'm looking forward to arguing with people, but we only get these once every 7 years. And these reports are really interesting about the pricing. So, yeah. But I'm going to make sure here. However, those are the 3 topics that I had today, and would love to see you in our Patreon, to which we are going to further discuss these, but also on Twitch Monday, we're going to be having some good times with the general hangout. I know a lot of people want to just generally hang out with me, but I do that on Twitch every week, so I'd love to see you on Twitch, and we might be having 2 of those every week now, and I just want to see your thoughts in the comments of this if you watch the replay, or in the chat. Feel free to tweet me as well. I'm very active on Twitter. I like to see what if you guys ever have a question about anything like anime, games, movies, whatever, just tweet me if you're not on Patreon. So, but I appreciate you guys so much. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, and I will catch you on the flip side. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Kibi Talks. This went a lot better, by the way. I like the camera and everything. Okay. Be geek, be proud, be awesome. See ya.